Hey guys, Alex here. Today I'm making a video for you on choosing the right surfboard leash length and weight. And I've been through quite a few different boards and leashes in my time. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about, why you want it to be a specific length and what sort of weight you need exactly as well. So before we jump into that, I thought I'd just give you a breakdown of the different parts of the surfboard leash. So I've got one here of my current favorite board right now. And this is the cuff. So you attach this around your ankle by putting the Velcro in like that and wrapping it around like that. Next up from there, we have the swivel part on this end. Then almost from there, you obviously have the rest of the leash until you get up to the next swivel part. Then from there, you have the rail saver or rail guard, which you attach onto the leash string, and then that attaches onto your board. And again, this has Velcro on it that should, in most cases, fold over a few times. And so yeah, the leash string will go around about there. And you just fold it over simply like that. And then you're good to go. Now, just a note on a bit of care for your surfboard leash as well. With these metal swivel parts, they are obviously metal. I don't really know what they're made of. I'd assume some kind of stainless steel. But stainless steel over time can actually still rust, especially with salt water around it. So yeah, I recommend just giving it a bit of a wash off in the shower after you've surfed. You don't have to do it every time, but yeah, we'll just prolong the life of those metal swivel parts a bit if you can get that done. So onto the length you need for your surfboard leash. So the general rule of thumb is that you want it equal or slightly longer than the surfboard that you're surfing. So the reason you want this is that you want it to basically not bounce back at you and bounce into your face. So for example, if you have a board that is 6 foot, then you could probably go for about a 6 foot leash. But if your board is 6.5 foot, then I would go up to a 7 foot leash. At the same time, if you're new to surfing, then I would probably actually just extend that leash length a little bit. So if you're surfing a 6 foot board, then I go up to a 7 foot leash. So there is one other consideration here, which is if you're surfing bigger waves, then you're going to want a much longer and much thicker leash. But if you're at that level of your surfing, then you probably won't need to be watching this video anyway, and you'd know what you're after anyway. Okay, so talking about thicker leashes in terms of big wave surfing, this is actually the other consideration just for general wave surfing as well, is the weight of your leash. So the weight is basically just the thickness, so kind of like how thick it is here. And what this actually, the consideration here is that the thicker the leg rope, the more drag you're going to have in the water, which is going to slow you down as you're going across the wave. So within that as well, apart from the big wave leashes, the two normal types of leashes that you're going to have are your regular thickness leash like this, and your competition weight thickness leash as well. So the competition one is going to be quite a bit thinner, and that's because it's designed to reduce drag in the waves. But at the same time, with this thinness comes the possibility that it can snap a lot easier as well. So what you really want to do when you're considering kind of which leash thickness you want is that I would normally recommend you just get a regular leash thickness. I mean, it may put a bit more drag onto your board, but it's probably not going to be a crazy amount of drag at the same time, not going to affect your surfing in most situations. However, if you are considering the competition thickness because you want to advance your surfing just that little bit more, you're looking to test it out, the things I would consider is to consider the wave height and also where you're surfing. So if it's going to be a really long swim to shore and the waves are quite a bit bigger, then you probably still want to opt for the regular leash size, just because of the safety elements of it, and also because of basically just you don't want to snap your leash if you're in that situation. At the same time, if you're just like a beginner surfer, but you're only ever going to be surfing in regular waves and your board's pretty light, then yeah, you might be able to go for a competition leash. But at the same time, at that stage, it's probably not going to affect your surfing that much, so I'd probably just still stick to a regular leash in most situations. So this brings me to my final point, which is about the brands that you can choose. So we talked a little bit before about the different elements of the leg rope leash, And I actually do believe this is something that is really worth paying a bit extra for, because you want quality basically. Number one, because even though it shouldn't be used as a safety device, in many cases it is just really kind of it can be a bit of a lifesaver while you're out there to be able to get your board back, and you don't want the leash to be snapping, if you can prevent it at all. So number one, yeah, I would go for one of the bigger brands. The ones that I recommend would be like FCS or Creatures of Leisure or Gorilla Grip or anything along those lines. I'd also make sure that you do have 2 swivel points in here as well. That's just going to prevent the leg rope from getting tangled up around your legs as much as possible. And yeah, it's normally just a sign of a more quality leash as well. All right, guys, I'm going to put some links in the comments to some of those brands that I mentioned and some of the leg ropes. And yeah, as always, if you've got any questions, hit me up in the comments, and I'll get back to you ASAP. All right, guys, happy surfing, and I will chat to you again soon. See ya.